Warm welcome, dear students. I am Sabina D'Souza, teaching at Chet Vidya Mandir English High School and Junior College. Students, do you know why do we need to have good values in our lives? Okay, let me tell you. Values are the things that you believe are important in the way you live and work. Take the current situation the nation is fighting due to an outbreak of a disease. We still have hopes and beliefs that this too shall pass soon. So, today we'll be learning a poem on how to believe, and that is A Time to Believe by poet B.J. Morbidzer, Standard 8, Poem 1.1. Before we begin with the poem, let us know something about the poet B.J. Morbidzer, although not much of the information is given. This is a picture of B.J. Morbidzer as a young soldier. He also wrote a few poems, and one of them is A Time to Believe. A Time to Believe is a wonderful poem loaded with the message of self belief that fills one with optimism, courage, hope, and faith. A man with self belief has a caring heart with which he can see the innocence of children and beauty of the old people from whom we learn the lesson of true love. So the poet tells us about the power of believing and how we can reach our dreams if we believe in something. So let's get started. I will read the poem stanza wise, followed by which I will be explaining the stanzas. The highlighted words are the important words for which the meanings have been written in small letters. To believe is to know that every day is a new beginning, is to trust that miracles happen and dreams really do come true. Let's understand the first stanza. The poem begins with the poet telling the readers that to believe means to know that every day is a new beginning. The sentence means that the reader should not dwell on the happenings of the previous day and start a new day when the sun rises. Furthermore, the poet says that to believe is to know that miracles happen every day without us knowing about them. And more importantly, dreams do come true. Like you can see in the image, the happiness on the baby's face. Or you can see forgetting the past and hoping for a new day. Moving to the second stanza. To believe is to see angels dancing among the clouds. To know the wonder of a stardust sky and the wisdom of the man in the moon. Here the poet says that to believe is to be able to see the angels dance amidst the clouds and to know the meaning of wonder of the beautiful sky above our heads. The poet even means to know the wonder of the man who resides on the moon. Like in the image, you can see how the angels above in the heaven are having a peaceful dance and the sky with the beautiful moonlight. Moving to the third stanza. To believe is to know the value of a nurturing heart, the innocence of a child's eyes, and the beauty of an aging hand. For it is through their teachings we learn to love. Here the third stanza says, to believe is to understand the love of a nurturing heart. It also means to understand the innocence of a little child's eyes, and to also believe in the ascertain of the beauty of an aging hand. The author concludes the stanza by telling the readers that it is through the love of a nurturing heart, the innocence of children, and by understanding the beauty of an aging hand, that we come to know of the greatest lessons of life. Like this image which shows the care and the love for the child the mother has. Likewise, you can also see that love we have for the elderly with their aging hands. Moving to the fourth stanza. To believe is to find the strength and courage that lies within us when it is time to pick up the pieces and begin again. In this stanza, the poet says, we ourselves have to find the strength and courage that lies within us. All we need to do is to believe that we can make it true. All we need to do is fix our broken pieces together and begin again with our undeniable belief. Like in the picture you can see, it's a time for strength and courage. And life is all about not about the broken pieces, but to join them and begin again. Moving to the fifth stanza, to believe is to know that we are never alone. that life is a gift and this is our time to cherish it. In this part of the poem, the poet says that to believe is to know that none of us are ever alone, and that life is a wonderful gift and creation by God, which we need to keep it safe forever. And this is the time to hold and keep it with us even in our lives. Like in this image, you can see we are never alone in this world. Even in the nature, the shadow or the sunrise is always with us. It never leaves us alone. And we always have to remember one thing, that life is a precious gift given to us from God. Moving ahead to the next stanza, that's the last stanza. To believe is to know that wonderful surprises are just waiting to happen, and all our hopes and dreams are within reach, if only we believe. In the end, the poet writes that surprises are just around the corner, and our hopes and dreams are within our reach, and not far away. In order to attain them, we must never forget the gift of life given to us by God, which is nothing more than the ability to believe in good things. Like in this image, you can see life is full of surprises. You never know what surprise you get when and how and why. And always one thing to remember is we should always have strong hopes and always dream high. Let's go through the summary as to what we have done in the entire poem, Time to Believe. It advises that every individual should believe that they can do anything in life, since nothing is impossible to achieve. The poet Morbid Zer describes through his writing that every day a person's dreams could come true if they believe in themselves. The poet requests us to be optimistic and deal with life with a positive approach. The poet also says that a person should have a self-belief that I am strong and courageous, because with this strength and courage, we can face any failure and disappointment and begin building our world of dreams. The poet also tells us that through self-belief, we can learn we are never alone in our struggles. Be brave to stand for what you believe in, even if you stand alone. We learn that life is a wonderful gift full of pleasant surprises waiting to happen. It is through self-belief we can reach our dreams and fulfill our hopes. The poet also says that the beauty of life is we cannot undo what is done. We can see it, understand it, learn from it, and change, so that every new moment is open not to regret, in guilt, fear, or anger, but in wisdom, understanding, and love. Let's understand the poetic devices of the poem. So before we go to the poetic devices, let's always remember that we have to believe in ourselves, keep hopes, and always dream high. It's a free verse poem with no rhyme scheme or no rhythm, open form of free verse. It has some figures of speech like alliteration, epigram, and personification. Let's understand each figure of speech. What's an alliteration? It's a repetition or occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of a word. Like from the poem, we have got some sentences which carries an alliteration. That's the alphabet repeating. To believe is to know that every day is a new beginning. To know the wonder of a starless sky and the wisdom of the man in the moon. It is time to pick up the pieces and begin again. Let's understand the next figure of speech, epigram. Now what's this epigram? It's a short saying or humorous poem that expresses idea in amusing way. Now what do I mean by expressing an idea or a short saying? Something which you believe, something which is said which is true. Like in the poem, you have got each and every second line saying that to believe is to know that every day is a new beginning. To believe is to know we are never alone. Like the entire poem has got something to tell us the reality, and that is nothing but your epigram. Moving to personification. What's a personification? A thing, an idea which is given a human quality, or you can say in other words, non-human objects are portrayed in such a way that we feel they have ability to act like human beings. Moving to the next important point, that's the appreciation of the poem. Firstly, we talk about the title. The title of the poem is A Time to Believe. Second point, poet. It is a beautiful poem written by B.J. Morbid. Thirdly, talking about the central idea. It requests us to be optimistic and deal with life with a positive approach. The poet wants us to have faith and believe that the best is yet to come. It underlines the importance of being strong, and courageous as we look ahead. Fourth point we have got is the rhyme scheme. It's a free verse. There are no rhyming words or rhyme scheme in the poem. Time for some assessment. Here are some questions from your textbook. Rearrange the letters to make meaningful words occurring in the poem. Now here are some letters which are jumbled. You have to rearrange and make a word which is present in the poem. Second question talks about describing words. That's your adjectives. Here are certain words given for you. The describing word is in the poem which you have to search and fill in it appropriately. Lastly, you have got a web over here which you have to fill with positive qualities. Now these positive qualities are nowhere to be found except in your poem. You're supposed to pick out some words which gives you positive qualities. And lastly, from the poem you have to find out other three examples of epigram. Like I gave you 2 examples and 2 or 3 more you will be adding to it. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson and understood it. Thank you.